Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Today, we're going to continue our journey in Xray, and we're jumping into the document generator. Out of all the things in Xray, other than setting it up, doing that initial configuration of adding the work items and teaching people how to add test steps, like document generator is the next major thing that I usually get asked for. So, I'm going to have a little bit of fun reviewing this content and this material. So, make sure you hit the subscribe button, drop a like, and let's jump into document generator for Xray. All right. Click on next so we can get past this welcome screen here. We're going to have a quick introduction. Let's see if we can get the full screen to show up here. There we go. All right, so today we're going to be learning how to understand the document generator features, learn how to manage templates, template from a template store, learn how to export information with the document generator, and then share common use cases for the document generator. So some content here, which is the introduction to the document generator, managing templates, building templates, a lot of what we just covered. So we're just going to skip on through. What is the document generator? So Xray document generator is a feature that allows you to customize your own templates and generate documents regarding your Jira data, mainly Xray issues, requirements, and defects. You can build a report as a document asset and give it to someone else, like a customer or a manager. It's easy to set up and start creating your own documents. So how does the document generator work? Well, you have Xray, duh. We have a template. We have a button or a feature called DocGen, and then a generator or a template or a file is auto-magically created with all the information from Xray. So some pros is that it can be shared with stakeholders with no access to Jira. It's super customizable. It provides you with free basic templates to help you get started exporting information from your issues. You can export practically all the data within an issue that it can have, either in Jira or with Xray's attachments. It's also very easy to export once the base template is done. We have a support team available to help you with your needs, such as managing, building, or exporting templates. And then the Xray document generator provides you with an add-in for Microsoft Word, Excel to help you build those templates. Some of the cons, though, is that no real-time information. So to update, you need to generate the document again and again and again, and any little tweaks just requires you to redo the document. It does not cover any like business intelligence like capability, so most reports are going to be based on pre-calculated formats. All right, on to the next one, which is going to be our template sections. So let's talk about how to manage our templates. So template management, Xray does come with a bunch of templates already, so you don't really have to do a whole lot. You can just use whatever's in there, but all you need to do is go to the template section, and it's going to allow you to export the data into a document. You can add your own templates, and folks, this is a little bit trickier. This is not as intuitive as you would like for it to be. So I like to stick, especially if you're a beginner, I like to stick to just the basic stuff, the out of the box stuff. But if you're feeling a little bit more comfortable, maybe you can ChatGPT your way through this one. You do have the ability to create your own templates with your own information, so you can provide whatever is important for you and your business and whatever test data you're trying to get out. The template screens allows you to administrators to edit, delete, or download the templates that are going to be available to users. So this is fully tweakable by your Jira administrator. How do you access the document generator templates? So from the Jira administration, you're going to go over to the global administration. So notice that this is not in the space specifically, but this is a global setting so that all the templates are available to all the spaces. However, there is a space level administrator view of this. So you may want to consider and pick and choose your battle, right? Or is this a template that I want every team to be able to use? Or is this a template that I want only a specific subset of team members to be able to use? And so you have to make that determination so that you go and modify the right one. Don't misconfigure the wrong one, because that would be probably painful. And besides naming your template and uploading the template file, when managing a template, you can select where you can use a template, what are the Xray entities, for example, is it a test plans, test execution, test sets that can use a template, which formats are available, and which one's the default. And then by doing this, you're limiting where and how to use the template. So how to manage your template. So we're going to have entities. So when you go and edit your template, you give it a name, you give it a description, you give it a scope, right? This is going to be where the template is going to be available to export. For example, in the issue navigator, in the issue details, in the Azure boards. So this will tell us where we can call the template to be used. Then we have the entities. Is this going to be for the test plan, the test execution? You choose. Then we got our output format. So what formats are supported? We have docx, PDF. I think I've seen Excel and things of that. We can call it the default format. In this case, it's going to be a docx. We can add page breaks. So if we can basically push content to organize the page so it doesn't all look like it's just jarbled into the document. And then we can also choose if we're going to select or allow for attachments. So here's a sample use case. So as a quality manager, I want to export my test case description into a single document. So in order to export a single issue of test type, you need to assign the scope, issue detail, and entity test and the desired template for the desired template. Then you'll be able to do it. Now, what isn't shown here or is how we actually use it. So I guess we're going to get to that in a second. But Document Generator provides another way to get awesome templates, the template store. So use the template store to access and install templates provided by us for free of charge. So Xray themselves are making extra templates that you may need or want to use in your team. The store button is available in the templates main page. When you click on it, the dialog displays, which allows you to install and reinstall all the available templates. I have not ever done this, so this is quite interesting and something I might definitely want to consider. And so we have test reports, test plan basics, test execution basics. So quite a lot of different templates. In the chat, let me know which one's your favorite template. Have you ever made your own templates? What are y'all doing with templates? I'm curious to know in the chat here. All right, so let's talk about how to build a template. Folks, this is probably where things get a little bit harder, right? So using the template's kind of trivial. You define the scope, you define where and how you can use the template, and then you just hit a button and the stuff happens automatically. However, tweaking and building your own template, this is where you're going to want to pay attention. All right, so you can build your own templates, customize to your own needs. The best option is to always reuse a template and then adapt them. It's very important, folks. Take an existing one and kind of just tweak it a little bit. With this option, you can create beautiful templates adapted to your own corporate image with the data that is relevant to you. And so to build a new template, you're going to select the issue type. So depending on the issue type, you will have different information types to map. You're going to prepare your template, and then you're going to build the template. And notice the curly brace here. We need to get familiar with a little bit of code. If you're not super comfortable with coding, you might not like this, but there is some coding involved. All right. All right. So templates, template elements to export info. So we have mappings for fields. So we're going to basically grab specific data that's in the Jira field. We have for comments, native iteration. So use for information which you may not know in advance. For example, the number of comments. And then we have our test type used for Xray issue types with specific information like the test type, depending on the issue type. So this right here, somebody's asking, what is this? So this is part of Xray. Xray contains something called a document generator. So once you set up Xray, once you set up your test and your team goes through the actual test runs and you're actually using Xray productively, the data is in Xray and it's in Jira and you want to get it out. And so the document generator is one of 3 reporting opportunities that are available. There's reports that are natively built into Xray. Then there's going to be a dashboard gadget, so you can pull into your own Jira dashboards. But then you have this thing called a document generator, which allows you to create these, kind of think of like a book. Well, book might be an overstatement, but a thicker report that you can actually like print out or email or send out to people. So that's what we're covering right now, is how to build our own. And then we have some other template elements. So besides the elements that we just talked about, you also have other ones like conditional blocks, functions, and JavaScript. And so, folks, I highly recommend that if you're going to get into this, like you read this documentation, understand it. I try to do a couple, and it's painful. And so it's not the easiest thing in the world. There is also a Xray Doc Generator Microsoft add-in. So Xray Document Generator add-ins for Microsoft Word and Excel help you create beautiful and customized templates using Jira and Xray inside of Microsoft Word and Excel. So I did not know that this existed. And this is something I would definitely want to play around with because like I said, it's not the easiest thing in the world to create. And so we have the Microsoft one here that this one looks like it's for Excel. And then we have the MS Microsoft Word one. So in the next video, we're going to take a look at how to build one of these templates. So some of these are videos, folks, and I'm just going to kind of narrate it. And it looks like we're going to do the Word one first. So let's jump into this. And so you're going to obviously get the plugin. So we'll jump into Word. And in this case, we are pulling up the Xray document generator. And what I like about this is that it has the mappings for you. It has like the code that you're going to need. And so it makes it a lot easier because I don't memorize anything, folks. And memorizing things can be a little overwhelming and daunting. And so this is nice that you can kind of expand these items. So as you're typing things in, you can go over to the right and it'll help you kind of know what's possible. So that way you can basically like copy paste some of that code in there and you can start building the template with whatever data, metadata that you need. And so very intuitive. And then you can also validate to make sure that the template works, right? That it's going to actually not, error out on you when you're trying to use it in Xray. Now that's the Word one. So Excel, I'm assuming is going to be basically the same thing, except that it looks like it's going to be natively in Excel. So let's go take a look at what that looks like over there. So we got a video here. And so this time we're in Excel. Again, I'm expecting full behavior like the ones we just had in Word. And so you fill in some columns. You come over here to the right-hand side, which is the Xray macro that is inside of Excel. And then you're just going to like pull in some of those code snippets so you can start populating and building out your template. Again, folks, this is a little bit harder than what the video is making it look like. Like you kind of need to know what you're looking for. So I would highly recommend you look at the existing templates so you can get familiar with how they structure it. And definitely check out the link for the documentation that goes deeper into how to build the templates, because just looking at this, like this particular user kind of knows what they're building and they're not building this from scratch for the very first time. Like they're just showing an example, and it's easy to build the example when you know what you want the example to look like. But most of us here that are building this for the first time, we probably don't know what the example looks like at all at the beginning. And so it's a little bit more daunting. So adapt the template from the template store. So as I mentioned, like it's probably easiest you start with an existing template. This one's going to show us how to take an existing one, stick it into Microsoft, and then modify it there. So let's go look at what that looks like. This should hopefully be a little bit easier because we're not starting from scratch. We're not starting with a blank canvas. Although, as I say that, we're staring at a blank canvas. All right. So let's see. We have the templates on the right-hand side. It brings it in. So as you can see, we have the full template as Xray created it. And now we can just type in like if we had, just a regular Word document. But knowing the commands, knowing the code here, this is where I was saying like it gets a little bit trickier. It's a little bit more of an art than it is a science, mainly because if you're doing this for the first time, you kind of just don't know what you're supposed to put and where. So it's going to take a couple of trial and errors to kind of understand how this thing works so you can really grasp the concepts of it, so that ultimately you can get comfortable with tweaking your template. So I recommend, open up one of the templates that is there, make a copy of it. You don't want to be doing this off your production ones, but open it up, make a little tweak, and then generate the document and see how it changed, see the behavior, understand the behavior, more importantly. And that'll get you start getting comfortable with the creation and modification of these templates, right? Because every little piece here is a little unique, and the more you practice, the better you're going to be at creating them. All right, let's take a look at validating and uploading the templates. So having the correct notion is crucial to get your template working. With Microsoft Add-in, you can check if there's any errors in the template. We saw that button on the right-hand side. After validating, you're ready to upload it. So you're going to go to the Xray settings, document generator, and then we're going to click on the plus add. So there's a button on the top right side that allows us to add our template. So you build it, you validate it, you upload it, and then you can use it. Simple enough, right? Sounds simple. All right, let's continue our journey here. We're going to talk about how to export with the doc generator. So we have a couple of opportunities here. We can export a single issue. We can export multiple issues. We can export from the board, or we can export from our testing board. The export possibilities correspond to the scopes you use when creating any template. You can export information from Xray, such as test steps, from a test, and information from Jira, such as comments, attachments, and more. How to access document generator to export. So if you're inside of like the work item or in the search view, you're going to be able to see that there's an action menu button inside of whatever issue you're looking at. There's going to be this Xray button here. If you're in the Agile board, you're going to be able to go to the action menu for the entire board. You'll be able to generate the Xray, the document there. And then if you're inside of a release, you're going to see that you got a new document generator button there. So 3 different ways to generate the document. Now, how do you access the document generator to export from the repository? So if you go to a test repository, I'm assuming you're going to right click on this, you're going to have the document generator here. And then if you're in your test plan board, you can see that there's a test document generator there as well. So you select the scope. So you have the possibility to export a single issue or multiple issues. You kind of get to pick whatever you want to choose there. Use a template that best suits your scope. So there's a lot of different templates, existing ones, the ones that you made, some that you downloaded from their app store or template store. Select the format. So we got docx, PDF, or Excel, and then select the break page. And then you just create the report. Folks, it's really that simple. Once you know what you want, once the report is good, you just hit export and you literally export the code there. So here we are inside the template section. We're going to add a template. We're going to give it a name. I'm not sure why we're doing this. These videos are a little bit out of order. We're then going to go find our template and we're going to attach it. You dictate the scopes there and hit save, and then we have a template. Now that we have the template, now that it exists, we can go into the work. So we're going to go find some story, bug, whatever you want, test plan, right? You really get to choose whatever you want. Okay, in this particular case, we're going to look for a specific key. And so we're looking for a very specific item. In this case, it's a test plan. And then we hit the action menu button on the right-hand side, and you're going to see the Xray export to the document generator. Pick your report. It can be any of the native ones or the ones that we just added. Pick your output format. Watch a little bit of paint dry. And in a few moments, you're going to have your report. You download it, you save it, and now you can email it. It's just a regular file. This is what it looks like, and it just extracts all the data straight out of Xray and Jira into your report. So very simple, right? Very, very simple. But the problem, or the challenging, the opportunities are in the creation of the templates for special cases. So you can create a report with document generator for test runs. And so we're going to see that next. All right. So here we're going to see a test run. So earlier we just watched the video on the test plan. So this time we're going to click on add. We're going to do a new template. We're going to add a new template for test runs. Again, this would have been something that we created using the aforementioned steps earlier in the video. We'll pull in our template. It's already appropriately titled for test runs. We're going to make it the scope off the issue navigator, give it a brief description. Okay, and then hit save. The report now exists, so you can now go look up your work. We're looking for the issue navigator, so we're going to just type in the code. So we're looking for project equals demo. Okay, we have the work that we want. We now have the Xray button. And so it's going to use all of these issues to do the test run report, export it to an XLS file, and we watch a little paint dry, hit the download button, and you save that button. And you now have yourself a report that, again, you can email with all the Xray data in there. So it's very, very simple once you have the report created. Creating the report is the part that gets a little bit tricky. So in the chat, folks, let me know if you've ever created a report. Again, these can be a little bit harder to create every once in a while. Depends on how complex you want to get. All right, so exporting, let's get into this one here. Where's my little extender of the image? All right, well, it won't extend. Come on. Oh, man. Export a template that contains information about test runs from the text execution issue type. So we're going to build our template, export the template, and then the results of the export. Easy. Let's watch a video on how to create a document report from the Agile board. So this one I've never done. I've never actually gone into the Agile board, so this one's going to be an interesting one for me. But I'm assuming it's all of the same steps, right? You go in here, we're going to add a template. In this case, we're in the template store. We're going to install one that is for requirement traceability matrix report. It's now available. We can go edit. We can tweak any of these values. But the more important ones, we want to add Agile boards because we're going to export the template from the Agile board. So now we want to make our way into an Agile board. And once we're in the Agile board, we then want to go to the action menu button for the board. Now, keep in mind that this is using the old UI. So if you're using the new Confluence or Jira Cloud, a lot of these buttons have kind of moved around, but you still want to make your way over to the board. Select your context there, select your template, the one that we just installed from the App Store, hit export. Again, watch a little bit of paint dry, and after you hit download, you'll have yourself a report that, just like the other ones, you can share and use and distribute amongst your team. So fairly simple once you kind of know what you're doing. Okay, let's export the recap here. So you can export multiple issues from the backlog, from an active sprint, or from the release screen, even from a Kanban board. So your goal here is to export the template installed from the template store that contains information about the requirements associated with the issues present in the Kanban board. So basically, this is just a recap of what we did. Xray, your learning team, man, you all gotta, you kind of do things out of order here. It's kind of not intuitive. All right, so let's see what we're going to look at next. So we are jumping into the Xray settings for the document generator. We're going to upload a file, which at this point, this is like the 4th or 5th file we've uploaded. This one's going to be for test report. Give it a description. Find our test report file that we made in Excel. Define the scopes here, but this time we're going from the testing board. All right, so this is what's important. These are going to be reports that, depending on where you're exporting your document from, you're gonna have different options. And so that the devil's in that detail right there, and the nuance that you're not just exporting it. We're not doing the same thing over and over and over, but we're going to different places. And depending on where we are inside of the Xray interface, we're gonna be able to export different files. Now, why you would want to do this, I don't know. I would personally just make all the files or reports available everywhere. I guess they're just trying to drive home a point that, hey, you can like custom tailor this to whatever you want. But honestly, like, I would just make the reports available and let your testers figure it out. That would, I think, be the easiest route, because otherwise you really got to worry about all these nuances here, and it can get a little bit trickier. So I wouldn't particularly worry too much about this. I think this is what I did last time that causes my screen to stop sharing. So definitely hit the wrong button. And so let me reshare my screen here. I now know what I did, Sean. So last time we're trying to figure out how I stopped sharing your screen. I now know what happened. All right. So this is, again, a recap of what we just did. Some recommendations: reuse existing templates. Template store already provides many templates related with testing and Xray, so try to reuse those whenever possible. Delimit the scope of the data. So select wisely the source data, both inside the template itself and the iteration, and also select issues used as input for the template generation. And be careful with the amount of data that you have. And it's my Mac thing. It's a Mac thing. I had hotkeys on the corners of my screen, and one causes my computer to go to sleep. And when it goes to sleep, it stops sharing the screen. So don't get a Mac. All right, we are moving on, folks, to the quiz. We have 5 questions, which means we got to get 4 right. You all know me. You know I hate taking tests. The document generator enables me to export information from Xray using a template in which format. So we got this, and this. Hopefully that one's right. Can you share Xray information with external stakeholders without access to Jira? Yes, with the document generator. That's the whole point. A document generator requires programming skills to be used. Ooh, I'm going to say yes. False. You don't need programming skills. You're able to use templates from the template store. And that's, yeah, I think this is a trick question. I think the right answer is false, but truly you do need to know programming. So I think it's a bad question. Is there a tool that can help you build a new template? Yes, the Xray doc generator in Microsoft add-in. And then which exporting possibilities are possible? So we can export a single issue. We can do multiple issues. Yep, and yep. So I think it's these first 4 here. So let's submit, and drum roll. We got 100%. Yes, we passed. We got 10,000 points. I don't even know where these points are going to, but I got 10,000 points, folks. That is amazing. We're going to do a quick survey here. I'll give them a 9. This one was pretty good. Good test. A little out of order, I think. I would have done things a little bit differently, but good test nonetheless. All right. We are almost at the end here. We're going to check out our complete unit here, get our certificates, so our boss knows that we did our job, and then that's it. So we are pretty much done with this one. For tomorrow, we're doing parameterized test, data-driven testing tomorrow. So make sure you come back for that. Hit the subscribe button. And then on Monday, we're going to take care of Xray governance and maintenance. After that, I'm going to be ready to actually take the test. And hopefully, fingers crossed, I can pass that test, because, folks, we need it. This is not an optional thing. This is something I have to take for the job so that I can, so that the release team can maintain and keep their partner status with Xray. And we're actually overdoing it. So I got to work on it a little faster. So anyways, hit that subscribe button, folks. Thank you all for being here. Hopefully you learned how document generator works in Xray. Let me know in the comment section if you've ever used it or if you ever need any help with any of that. The release team is here to help you out. So hit the subscribe button. We'll see you in the next one, folks.